The go home episode for SmackDown the night before Crown Jewel, and I believe the show was taped last week after last week's episode of SmackDown. No, I thought this episode was a pretty solid episode. A lot of good stuff, some bad stuff. But I would say more good than bad. Liked the opening segment between Roman and LA Knight. I liked the main event. Probably one of the better women matches on television this year. I like the Cena and Sokoa stuff, and I'm really digging what how Nick Aldis is being presented as a journal manager so far in his run. But so those are my quick thoughts on the good stuff, and we're gonna save the bad stuff for the review. So the show kicks off with LA Knight and Roman Reigns for a promo segment to promote one more time before their big WWE Championship match today at Crown Jewel. So I think so far, every time they've had a segment together, LA Knight it comes out looking like the bigger star, and that's no shade against Roman, but I just feel like LA Knight has completely owned these segments that the two have had together, and Roman is just kind of there for me, and it might just be like a me thing, but that's just how I feel about it. You look at last week's contract signing, LA Knight completely owned Roman to the point where it pissed him off and he had to flip the table. And with this week, Roman he keeps bringing this up. He keeps bringing up the fact that what has LA Knight done in the WWE besides to get the audience to chant his name? And some of that is kind of true, but I think it's more than that. The audience has developed a genuine relationship with LA Knight, and he gets the loudest crowd reactions out of almost everybody in the company, and he's done all this within a year's time. It took a Roman years to get to where he's at now, and it took LA Knight 1 year in the WWE to get to this level of success. Now he hasn't won any championships or anything like that, but I don't even think he's ever had a actual championship match before, and this is his first one. And it is so cool to see somebody organically get over their way, not necessarily their way, but not like something that's forced. This happened organically, this happened slow, and LA Knight has really taken the ball and ran with it. And in this segment here, Roman keeps talking about what has he done in 6 months besides get people to share his name, and LA keeps bringing up the fact that he doesn't need all of that. He's not here to finish a story. He's here to start one, which is a nod to Cody because that's what Cody's main focus was feuding with Roman. That he wanted to finish a story, and LA Knight is here to start a story. He's here to start the LA Knight movement and become a WWE champion. And other than the line of Roman saying that he's like a redneck version of his cousin, you know, Roman didn't really do anything in this segment, and LA Knight completely outshined him again. Now I wonder if they're having LA Knight outshine Roman in all these segments that they have together because he's most likely going to lose today. I wonder if that's the case, if that's why, because I just don't see them. Now I want them to 1000% because LA Knight has deserved it. Nobody has risen this quickly, organically, in like a long time. I can't even remember the last time something like this has happened. For somebody to get over this fast and build a connection with the audience this fast and not get rewarded for it, you know? People keep talking about, oh, LA Knight's 40, etc. Okay, well, if they feel like, his age is a factor, why not put the title on him now? But I don't know. I don't think you'd want to do a title change in Saudi Arabia because whenever they do stuff that they know is gonna piss off fans, they tend to do that stuff in Saudi Arabia because they think that Saudi Arabia is just gonna cheer everything and react appropriately. Like the Brock Lesnar Ricochet match in Saudi Arabia, where he squashed Ricochet in like a minute. Goldberg title change when he beat Bray Wyatt. No, they do tend to do a lot of stuff over there that they know would get horrible crowd reactions in America. So I don't know. But yeah, I do feel like Roman's definitely winning, but I have never felt that I wanted out of all the opponents that Roman has had for his WWE Championship. LA Knight is so far to me the one guy that I really, really want to take that title off of him. So we shall see what happens. But a really good segment. Things got heated at the end, and Nick Aldis came out with security to break, send him to the back. Next, we had Kevin Owens versus Austin Theory. Grayson Waller's on commentary, and this match is happening based off of last week. And I honestly think this is stupid and childish for a wrestling show. This whole thing is happening because Kevin Owens said that Theory and Waller have punchable faces. It's like something you would hear in like a middle school fight. Oh, you got a punchable face. What are we doing here? And first of all, Kevin Owens coming to SmackDown and splitting him up from Sammy, to me is just stupid. He did all that stuff with the bloodline, and they have that moment at WrestleMania, and then everything that's happened after WrestleMania has just felt so lackluster for Sammy and Kevin Owens, and they don't even try to fix it. They don't even try to elevate them again. They just split them up. And now Kevin Owens is on SmackDown saying stuff like, "Oh, you got a punchable face. I'm gonna punch you in the face." And then you have Theory right back saying, "Oh, well, I think I have a great face, and Kevin Owens has a face that a mother could only like." Like what? What is this kindergarten playground trash talk? Like what is this stuff going on? No, Theory could be doing something better than whatever this that he's been doing, and Grayson Waller is just whatever. He's just there for me. I don't really understand the Grayson Waller. Okay, well, let me rephrase it. I understand him, but he's just like annoying to me. It's like that obnoxious go away heat for Grayson Waller. Yeah, he can talk, he can wrestle a little bit, but like he's just annoying to me. And like I said with Theory, he could be doing so much better than, oh, I think I have a great face, and Kevin Owens has a face only a mother could like. It's so like childish fourth grade like playground like trash talk. Like if you walk by a playground and you hear these two little kids arguing, that's literally what they would be saying. I did not like this segment at all. I didn't like the match. Kevin Owens pretty much squashed Theory, which is also stupid. Theory has so much potential to be doing so much more, and he's pretty much getting squashed by Kevin Owens in this match. It just seems like they brought Kevin over to SmackDown with like no directional plan so far, and he's stuck dealing with these two guys. So I don't know. And we have Bianca Belair backstage. She cuts a promo on Bayley, says she wants vengeance, and then she gets immediately jumped by Damage Control, and Nick Aldis comes to break it up. Next, we see Logan Paul walking backstage. He runs into the Hurt Business 2.0, and the Hurt Business say that they're glad that somebody finally took out Ray. Why? I don't know. I don't know why they would say that. Maybe because they're just heels, I guess. BFAT comes into play. Now, I thought this was interesting, and she says she wants to talk to Bobby. Now, we all know Flop Dollar got released, so Ashante the Adonis and BFAB have essentially been doing nothing. And even with Flop Dollar was with the company, Hit Row was still doing absolutely nothing of relevancy. So could BFAB and Ashante the Adonis join the Hurt Business? I would well, they're not Hurt. I call them Hurt Business. Now, like I said, would Ashante the Adonis and BFAB be beneficial for the Hurt Business 2.0? I don't see why not. You know, Street Profits are a tag team. Bobby Lashley's the main guy. And I feel like if you add a mouthpiece in BFAB, it could work. And then you have a middle card guy and Ashante the Adonis to complete the faction. Now, I know a lot of people wanted Bianca to join Her Business 2.0, but I don't know. Would it be cool? Yeah, sure, but I think she's just better off doing her own thing right now because, in my opinion, I think the Street Profits have taken a step back with this, being with Bobby, but they can get a solid faction together. I think it could work. I think Ashante the Adonis and BFAB could work with Her Business 2.0. They add them to the group. I think it could work. Next, we had Piper Niven, Chelsea Green versus Shotzi and Charlotte Flair. During the match, we see Alba Fire and Isla Dawn shown backstage watching match. Charlotte and Shotzi won the match. And again, I don't know what it is. Last week, Shotzi beat Chelsea in like 2 minutes. This week, this match went like 3 minutes longer. And Chelsea loses again. I don't know what's going on here, man. I really don't. I don't know what the direction is for the Women's Tag Team Championships. And I understand and appreciate everything that Chelsea is doing to elevate the titles the best she can. But it's just not working for me. It's just not working. There's no women's tag team divisions. You can't just have a division with just makeshift tag team, first of all. Now, I understand Sonya's been hurt, but I'm not just talking about Chelsea having just random partners. I'm talking about just in general. Like, there's no tag team division. There's no point of these titles existing. At one point in time, there were like 6 women's tag teams, legit tag teams, but that was years ago. Just get rid of the titles. I promise you it would not affect the show in a bad way whatsoever if there aren't any women's tag team championships. Next, we have Solo and John Cena for an in-ring promo. Solo basically says that the tribal chief gave him one job, and that is to hand Cena the mic so he can tell the fans goodbye. And Cena, with a raspy voice, because I don't know why, but it sounded like his voice here. And Cena tells Solo that he's gonna cook you. He's gonna cook him in like 90 seconds, and he pretty much did. Cooked Solo in like 90 seconds. He says that Cena's been waiting for Solo to talk for over a year, and that's all he has to say. He says that he will say goodbye, universe, not for himself, but for Solo. And he pretty much calls Solo a rip-off version of Taz, because Solo is like the hitman, the heater for the bloodline, and always wears that towel around him. So yeah, I could see why the Taz reference was funny, because it is true in a sense. I never thought of it that way, but once he said it, I was like, oh yeah, it's kind of like a rip off of Taz. But is that really a bad thing? I wouldn't think so, but it was still pretty good. He also says that Solo only has a job because of Roman, which is also true. You think about it, which is so funny. And then Cena says that the only place he's gonna stick his thumb at Crown Jewel is gonna be up his own ass, and that was the segment. Good stuff by Cena, one of the best to ever do it on the mic, and it was interesting to hear Solo talk for the first time, say more than one word. And he didn't really. I don't know. This man's gonna have to talk better. That's all I'll say. But he was fine for what he did in this segment. Then we cut to Damage Control backstage. Bayley teases that she might challenge Io for the title at Crown Jewel because she's gonna take out Bianca tonight, and Io and Dakota looked at her funny. And Nick Aldis comes in a frame, says Damage Control is banned from ringside tonight for Bianca and Bayley's match. And they were not too happy about it. Then we get a good old fashioned Dolly Brooks match. Now, I am not caught up with every single storyline that's going on SmackDown. I'm trying to get better at it. I don't know why this match happened. Maybe they explained it and I just wasn't paying attention. But I like Pretty Deadly a lot. A big fan since NXT UK when I first saw him. And for God's sakes, can we just call Pete Dunne by his fucking name now? Please. Like that is the one name change that has bothered me so much. Out of all the name changes they've given people, this one is the one that bothers me so much. It's so stupid. Anyways, they didn't really use a whole lot of gimmicks in this match for it being a fashion Dolly Brooks match. Like we saw a shillelagh and we saw a stool and we got a couple table spots. Nothing too crazy. But I think they made the right decision by putting Pretty Deadly over. They did their tag team finishing move off the second rope through a table and pinned Butch. I hate that name so much. And Pretty Deadly wins. A decent match for what it was. Nothing too crazy. Nothing really too bad either to say about it. And now I wonder if we're going to get Pretty Deadly challenging for the tag team titles in the near future. And I know Priest and Balor are heels, and so is Pretty Deadly. So I wonder how that's going to be. Next, we had Nick Aldis and Paul Heyman backstage. Heyman says he can offer him some wisdom and says that they should bring extra medical staff tomorrow for Crown Jewel because Roman Reigns has never been more savage in his life than he is right now. So I guess all this upstaging that LA Knight's been doing on Roman is really, really pissing him off, apparently, to the point where he's the most savage right now. And then Nick Aldis goes like, "Are you done now?" And Heyman says, "With LA Knight, hardly." So, to me, right there, that indicates that this feud is gonna go on longer than Crown Jewel. Because why else would he say that line? And according to reports everywhere, Roman's not scheduled for Survivor Series, so I don't know what's gonna go on after Crown Jewel. I have no idea. Then we get the weigh-in between Logan and Rey Mysterio, and I just thought this was stupid. Why have a weigh-in? Logan is obviously taller, and he obviously weighs more than Rey does. What was the point of this other than for them to have a scrap that pretty much mimicked Logan and Dylan's scrap? They had their weigh-in. They even did the microphone thing. So I thought this was stupid. It's dumb. This literally did not need to happen. Could have just did another promo battle between the two or something. You could have done literally anything else other than this, because it was so dumb. I don't know why they did this. And main event time, we had Bianca Belair and Bayley in the main event. A little preview for Bianca's title match with Io Sky at Crown Jewel. I thought these ladies had a fantastic main event. Like I said earlier at the beginning of the show, I thought this was one of the better TV women's matches we've seen on WWE television this year. I think since Bailey's kind of took a back seat in this whole damage control thing, and letting Io really be the main piece, I feel like some people forget that Bailey is actually really good. Because we don't really see it often anymore. But in this match specifically, I thought Bailey looked better than Bianca did. So I hope they can do something down the line in the near future between, have Bailey get back on her own. Like, I want to see Bailey get a proper singles run as a women's champion. I really do. She's been in the back seat for a long time, probably too long, and I think it's time for her to remind people that she is capable of having matches like this. We already know she could talk. So I don't know what's going on. I hope we can get some more Bailey appreciation going forward, and having Bailey be a main focus of the women's division. And I like Io Sky a lot. I'm not saying, take the title off of Io and put it on Bailey, but have Bailey go off on her own. She doesn't need damage control. If anything, Io and Dakota need Bailey more than Bailey needs Io and Dakota. In my opinion, at least. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. They've been teasing the whole damage control breaking up thing. They've been teasing that over the past couple of months. And it just really hasn't felt. It doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. And they did another tease earlier with the promo, the backstage promo. When Bailey was like, "Oh, I could take out Bianca, and then it would just be me and you for the title tomorrow," and she kind of laughed it off before Aldis came into the picture. But I don't know. They keep doing this slow burn thing between damage control, and at this point, it just feels like it's never gonna happen. So I don't know. But that was SmackDown. That is my review of SmackDown. Like I said, a lot of good stuff on the show, but some bad, like the weigh-in and the Kevin Owens and Theory stuff and the women's tag team match. But other than those three things, pretty good episode of SmackDown, and kind of interested in to see what they're gonna do at Crown Jewel. Speaking of Crown Jewel, let's look at the card. Crown Jewel today. Good old Saudi Arabia. So they have 8 advertised matches, one for the pre-show. The pre-show match is Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough. Main show, we have Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't see why take the title off Rollins right now, because this Drew and Seth feud kind of just came out of nowhere, and it really hasn't really done anything for me. The only thing I've liked out of this feud so far between Seth and Drew was what they did on Monday with Drew's video package, and then Seth just making fun of Drew, calling him a crybaby because other people did in fact suffer in the pandemic. And he can't blame his failures on other people like the Bloodline and the Judgment Day. So, other than that stuff, other than that segment on Raw, I haven't really enjoyed anything that they've done together. Then we have a fatal 5-way match for the Women's Championship between Rhea, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Raquel Rodriguez. Again, this just feels like another thrown together match that happened in recent weeks. There's no reason why Rhea should lose. All is as long as they don't put the title on Nia Jax, I could care less who wins. Then we have Rey Mysterio and Logan Paul for the U.S. Championship. I think 1000% Logan Paul's winning this match. Why not? He's really good in the ring. Sure, he's a big green, but he's probably the best green guy I've ever seen wrestle. But yeah, this could bring exposure, etc., etc. It's the perfect title to put on Logan if you give him a title. So I think Logan Paul's 1000% winning this match. Then we have Cody and Damian Priest. John Cena versus Solo Sikoa, and the WWE Women's Championship match between Io Sky and Bianca Belair, and which will probably be the main event: Roman Reigns versus LA Knight for the WWE Universal Championship. That is the match I'm most looking forward to on that show. I'm just generally curious. You put the title on LA Knight, a guy who's worked his ass off in a year's time to become the most over man in the company organically, and reward him for something like that? Or do you keep it on Roman and keep doing this whole longest reigning champion type thing? Who knows? I'm honestly, realistically, I would be okay with either, but if they do beat LA Knight, how are they going to do it? And how is it going to affect LA Knight going forward? Because a lot of times when WWE doesn't do title changes, when most of the audience wants a title change, that guy that loses tends to just kind of cool off a lot. And I don't want to see that with LA Knight. So if he does lose, that's going to be a next challenge. Is if he loses, is he going to stay over?